Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Me, you didn't expect to see 3 chairs. You expected to see Jay. G. Bush is in New York City. I don't know what he's doing there. He's got that fancy background back there. G. Bush, where are you? What the heck's going on? I can't hear G. Bush.
I can't hear him.
We had audio a second ago with G. Bush.
Wait, you hear me now?
Now we hear him. Take 2, G. Bush.
Here we go. I'm in the palatial estates right now, man. I'm in the penthouse on the top floor, and what I did is, the bat signal went out. G. Bush had to get in the studio and show you how we really do it up here at the penthouse. Bruce Wayne just left. Tony Stark is coming over later. We'll have some drinks, but I figured it out. I check in with y'all fellas, man. See how y'all doing.
Good to see you, my friend. It's sad not to see you in person, but good to see you. Brad Sellers is here.
Absolutely.
Brad, how are you? What's going on?
I'm doing good. G, you in the penthouse. We're going to hold the first floor down for you down here over here, baby. First floor over here.
I got you, man. I appreciate y'all out there. Drink some of that coffee and water for me.
G, your setting is very motivational for me, man. I truly want to. I aspire to be there one day. I gotta work my way up.
Hey, this is all from Dorothy Bush. Shout out to Mama. She's an interior decorator, so she said what we're looking for your aesthetic here in your home this is the Black Johnny Carson look right here. I should have had this. It's the Black Johnny Carson, right? That's what we're supposed
I
to
see
be
that.
doing.
I buy that. I'm surprised your dad didn't get some baseball memorabilia in the mix. No, he couldn't get his way in there.
She said that didn't go with the decor. She said keep that. That's in the man cave. All I told her is I gave her the bag and she said, do you worry about getting your deposit back? I said, heck no. She was like, okay, here we go. See, this don't come off, by the way. This ain't never coming off. Sorry to my landlord.
All right. All right, so we got a lot to get to today. G and Jay, who's not with us today, obviously, had an interesting conversation off the air about what the league might do next. We're going to get to that in a few minutes. Aditi's going to be with us today. Leroy Hoard's going to be with us today. So a lot to get to, but obviously I haven't been here the last couple of days. And I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes and kind of talking about what has happened here since the result came out about Deshaun Watson. I have read the entire report from Sue Robinson, as I'm sure many of you have at this point, and I'm really fascinated by the whole thing. Number one, in life, we have all become entrenched in our camps, right? There's nothing more noticeable than in politics. And we've always been entrenched in our camps to some degree, but now it's more extreme than ever. We are unwilling, all of us, or most of us, shouldn't say all of us, to listen to anybody's opinion when they don't agree with us. We get in our silos, and we only want to hear from people that believe exactly the way we do. And to some degree, this has happened also with this situation. People have decided they're in the Watson camp or they're in the anti-Watson camp. And neither side will listen to the other, even when some people are being reasonable, guys. And the reason I bring this up is because if you just saw that she suspended him for 6 games without pay, as we're seeing there, can't use the team masseuses, must stay out of trouble, you would say, without reading what she found in this case, that he was, what he did wasn't that bad. And that's why it was only a 6-game suspension and not this long suspension that the league wanted. But if you actually read it, I don't see, and listen, I've been talking about this for months. I have said consistently that Deshaun Watson should be suspended 8 games or less. I've said consistently, there's some holes in this story from some of the people and blah, blah, blah. I have been, if you will, if we had to define it, in the Deshaun Watson camp. And I'm still, even after reading everything I read, guys, fine with the 6-game suspension. Here's my problem. the people that have defended Deshaun Watson, and again, I'm one of them, if you're going to come out and say, well, listen, we believe, we all, a lot of us said, whatever Sue Robinson decides, we're okay with that. Haven't a lot of us said
Yes,
that,
we
right?
did. That's
So, G, you've said it, I've said it. So Sue Robinson came out and said 6 games. And so all of us that wanted Watson to have a short suspension or no suspension were like, yes, 6 games, that's great. But if you read what she wrote, it's very clear that Deshaun Watson is not completely innocent. And I don't think anybody should be going on TV. I don't think anybody should be on Twitter arguing that Deshaun Watson is a victim, that he's done absolutely nothing wrong, and this is some grand scheme to get him. At this point, based on what I read in her brief, and I read every word of it, that is impossible for anybody to believe. And I think we have to come to a point where we have to be realistic and say, is Deshaun Watson an innocent bystander here? No, of course he's not. Did he cross the line and do things that were inappropriate? Yes, he did. But is it fair to say, and so many people are so scared to have this conversation, that what he did, and we don't know with 100% certainty, but with, as she said, with reasonable information, I can't remember the exact word she used now, I can't remember the exact words, I wish I remembered it now, that he didn't beat anybody up and he didn't force anybody, but he did cross the line. His behavior was inappropriate. Right. There's no doubt about it. He was hiring massage therapists that weren't qualified. He was looking for sex, which I don't have a problem with if the girl's okay with it. But clearly there were some girls that were not okay with it. And it appears that he stopped when that happened. But he had already crossed the line. But when we start lumping what he did crossing the line, which was inappropriate but not criminal, to it's all in the same boat with rape and beating up a woman and all that stuff, that's where the other side, the anti-Deshaun Watson side, is being unfair. We can't lump everything together. There are levels to this. Does Deshaun Watson deserve to be punished? Yes. After reading this brief, do I think you could argue he should have been suspended even longer than 6? I think you can. She pointed to the precedent. I'm fine with the 6, and I'm also fine with separating what I think of the person and what I think of the player. If I can't root for the Browns because of Deshaun Watson, then I can't go to any stores and buy anything. I can't root for any sports teams. I can't do anything because there's bad guys and bad people in every spot. Deshaun Watson is not innocent. But I do believe in the end the punishment is fair. If it was harsher, a little harsher after reading this, guys, I would have been okay with it. But we can't argue that Deshaun Watson, I think, it's very clear after reading this, is completely innocent. But before I end my monologue, and I apologize for rambling, I do want to say one very important thing here. When she talks about he violated 3 things, sexual assault, conduct that possesses a genuine danger to the safety and well-being of another person, and conduct that undermines or puts at risk the integrity of the NFL. I think it is very important to note, and I think the anti-Watson people are not noting this, and I think it's important. These are not laws of the state. These are based on the definition that the NFL has come up with. And that's a big, big difference. Because when you hear possesses a genuine danger to the safety or well-being of another person, I don't really believe that he was a danger personally to any of these women. But based on how the NFL defined it, I can understand why she said yes in that case. I think that's something important to note. So I don't know, and we're going to get to what G and J were talking about. I want to, but I just wanted any of you guys to have a chance to respond to what you think I said. I don't know.
So G, you want to jump in, then I'm gonna come in on this thing.
I like how what you brought to the table right there, because there's a lot of people who don't believe that Deshaun Watson did anything, and sometimes when you point out inconsistencies and you point out the facts and you talk about specifically why she came to a 6-game conclusion, people are upset because that means you're saying, oh, Deshaun Watson didn't do anything. Deshaun Watson didn't. No. We've been clear and specifically crystal clear on the fact that Deshaun Watson he's not an innocent bystander in all of this. Most of the people said, hey, if they wanted to give him 8 games, so be it, right? At the end of the day, you did something incorrect. I've been the first person to say it, even if it was completely consensual. You do not have any business having sexual intercourse with anybody in the place of business or in public. I've been crystal clear about that. One of the things that for me, I look at this point now is if you have a process that you put in play and everybody on that panel, including the people we have consistency every single day said, listen, he put himself in a situation, whatever she comes up with, we will abide by and keep it pushing. My problem is this. There's a angry mob type of feeling about everything in this country at this point. You people feel that if you could get enough people to be on your side, to win an argument, to win a thought process, then what we'll do is we'll use public pressure to get the outcome that we want. And you can tell it's throughout everything we do, our politics, our system, our laws, all of that. My problem is this. If you have a system that you said that you are going to abide by, at the end of the day, justice is blind. And if you agree to a process and you say this is what it is, stop having backdoor routes where you could go back to the place where you had to change the policy to start with.
Yeah.
Don't have it where, hey, Roger Goodell gets the last look at things. Do you know how crazy that sounds? I'm going to appeal it to the person who makes these decisions. And now we have people saying it's okay that even if we have this sham decision by a judge that is more qualified and has heard all of the facts and has heard all of the details, and you're going to disregard that judge, that shows a blatant arrogance in this country. There are people who believe they have a privilege over facts, a privilege over experience, and because you feel aggrieved or you're on a supposed imaginary side, you know more than judges and grand juries, and that's the point where I stand at.
Yeah, Brad, to G's point, right, Sue Robinson said in this, whatever it's called, response or brief, I don't know what you call it, what she put out, the exact word, but she said basically that the league had made decisions in the past without really any guidelines. It was done based on public pressure and emotion. And I do think G's right. I don't think they should change the suspension personally, but really having no tent poles in place to do that.
Well, so I'm glad, I'm sitting in the seat here. I'm usually in the other seat, so I'm looking at the wrong camera here, right? So let me say this. Bull, to this point, I listen to everybody, right? And here, I'm a person that's involved in the system. I know how the system is supposed to work. So part of Sue Robinson's pitch was there was a this is basic labor law, past practice established by the NFL.
Right.
Yep. This is what she used to get them on the 6 games. Here's been your prior past practice, and it's the 6 games is right in the realm of what you're doing. Where I have a problem with is or disagree to a point is this. There's a problem. Deshaun Watson is culpable for his own problems he has right now. But for him doing it or being in the situation, he wouldn't even be here, right? But I will say this. When she looks at the evidence and says that by preponderance of evidence, it is clear to me that I can assume that X happened. She gave you what her opinion was. Well, is her opinion different than 2 grand juries down in Texas? Because they're on a criminal case and they could have easily brought a charge on them, right? They could have easily brought a charge. So there were 2 groups in Texas that basically pretty much saw the same thing, and they couldn't get there, right?
But there was a different burden of proof, right?
But it's a higher burden of proof. It's a higher burden of proof. You think they could have brought a sexual assault charge against Deshaun Watson down in Texas? So something to me, as a person in the system, said, I told you from the beginning there was something wrong. Secondly, I will say this. In this country, in basic labor law, when we're collectively bargaining, the union has a place and a purpose. It is to protect the employee against egregious behavior from the employer, right? So you don't become the vigilante justice that we see in this country so often now. And this really, and I'll tell you what, I'll go back further. This really didn't start till Obama came in office. I mean, we used to disagree, but it's so deep now that
it's gotten much worse.
It is crazy now, right? It is crazy. And so you sit here, and now people are like, the ruling came out from a judge who said, okay, I'm the independent arbiter. And I say this is what my opinion is, and there should be respect. I mean, you may disagree, and you're in arbitration. Sometimes nobody really wins.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of both sides. Well, now you got the people on the other side saying, I disagree, and I'm going to go back and rewrite the rules. That's not how this is supposed to work. In labor law, if you want to make a change, because we have an agreement, Tyvis, in the collective bargaining agreement between the Players Association and the NFL that X is supposed to happen. And when X doesn't have, these other rules are to be followed. Mm-hmm. Well, you cannot change the game in the middle because you don't like the way it came out.
Right.
But if the league doesn't appeal, you don't have a problem with what's currently.
Well, I say this. If you ask me whether I think the league should appeal, that's what you're asking me.
Right.
They should let this thing lie.
But you're fine with the 6 games as is.
Well, I'm fine with this.
Yes.
I'm fine with I had an independent arbiter look at it and make a ruling.
Right.
Now, do I like it? Because the Deshaun Watson camp don't like it because they think that they should have got no games.
Right.
2 games, 1 game. Not 6 games.
Yeah.
Now, the NFL on the other side says, no, I want a year.
Yeah.
And I want $8 million. Do you? Well, guess what? Nobody happy here. So usually when you get that, it's probably time to walk away.
Tyvis?
The way I look at it is, I was on the fence. You know, I hear both sides of the story. Deshaun Watson, it's a money grab. These women is after money. But after hearing Sue Robinson say what she said and reading the transcript, yes, I admit that he did something for sure. He's guilty of something. And the problem that I have with it is that how do you hire somebody that has no biases at all? She's not one side or the other. She's strictly Switzerland down the middle, and she calling it like she see it. And she made a ruling. And like Brad said, nobody won. The Deshaun Watson didn't win. The NFL didn't win. So technically, she did the right thing. And everybody's mad about Deshaun Watson. Oh, it's too light. The sentence is too light. And the problem is, y'all shouldn't be mad at that. You should be mad at the NFL for having that precedent games.
That's a good point.
If that wasn't in there, she probably would have called it the way she really wanted to call it.
Right.
But due to the fact that y'all, the NFL, let all these people get away with stuff that they did and only gave them 6 games, she can't look at it and say, I'm gonna go more. Like I gotta go off of what they giving me, and it's 6 games. So everybody that has a problem with the 6 games, you need to take that up with the NFL because that's who you truly are mad at.
That's true.
Well, they've got lawyers. They established a past practice here.
That's
this
right.
This has been their game.
And they're trying to go away from that.
Now you're trying to say, no, I don't like my game. Even though I use it on this person, this person, this person. And then here, I'll take it even further, Bull. The nonsense about the Miami Dolphins owner yesterday.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he basically got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Well,
Yeah. Well, the owner, I mean, look, what
Gee,
they
a
did.
slap.
What are you going to do? The problem is, unless you kick the owner out,
The
what can
problem
you do?
is the nuts are running the asylum.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the problem.
The owners get away with everything. That it's completely unfair. We know that.
Do you think that punishment is enough to make him not, or anybody in the future ever do that, not do that again?
No, billionaire. But
And
there's
and that's the problem.
Unless you take away all his money, he will always. Billionaires always will go back to that process.
you got to do something to deter the action.
Yeah.
You want somebody to stop doing it, and you don't want it to ever happen again. You have to lay down the hammer, and it changes a lot.
We will get to that, but just one last thing before we go to what the NFL might do here, guys. I think a lot of people were focused on the number of accusations against Deshaun Watson and said because of the number, the penalty should be harsher than the other guys. What I would argue, and what Sue Robinson has argued is, this is not about the number, because she was only looking at 4 cases, not at 24 or 36 or whatever the hell number you want to throw out there. She was looking at 4, and she found those 4 all to be credible. It's not like she didn't. She found, based on the evidence that was collected, those 4 alleged victims, to be credible. But she was focused on the fact that the other penalties that the NFL was using as a comparison were based on violent behavior. I would argue, and I know a lot of people will get mad at me with this, that what Kareem Hunt did, if I had to, it's weird to say what's worse. Deshaun Watson had bad behavior here, but I would argue personally that what Kareem Hunt did when he kicked that woman and basically was beating up that woman is worse than what as far as I know, what Deshaun Watson has done. I would argue, even though it's 1 versus a certain number, that what Kareem Hunt did is worse. And so I think there is a difference when one person beats somebody up, in that case of Kareem Hunt, versus what Deshaun Watson did here. I think I've said it, you just said it, What he did was wrong, but there are different levels to these things here.
And Bull, I'm gonna just say this, and I'm kind of, to me, I'm a little over the talk, right? You guys and the NFL said they wanted the process. They got the process.
Yeah.
They got the verdict. At this point in time, I'm tired of talking about what you're gonna do, and I'm not gonna lose no sleep over you possibly hanging this over my head. The reality of the situation is this: the NFL Players Association should have this mind state. I'm not begging and I'm not pleading with you. Make your decision. We will make our decision. We've already told you we're going to sue you, and we will do that. So the ball is in your court. And as far as what comes out after that, I will just say this really quickly. The NFL enjoys a certain amount of what we should say exclusion in this country. They have antitrust laws. They have tax exemptions. They can do a whole lot of things that a lot of other corporations in this country can't do. I'm just saying this. If a class action lawsuit is brought against the NFL as far as their hiring practices of minority coaches, as far as their collusion of Colin Kaepernick, in terms of the improper, the exaggerated the suspension of Deshaun Watson, and when you're talking about how they systematically go about delivering benefits in terms of racial profiling and doing certain things with CTE, you're going to have some young and energetic House of Representative or Senate member that will run off that. If you think that they won't run on getting rid of the antitrust exemptions based on the public and saying you're getting tax dollars, you're getting stadiums built by communities, we need to really check and see if you're treating your employees and minorities in a correct thing. And at the end of the day, I don't want my emails out there. So the owners shouldn't want their emails out there, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So at this point, do what you're going to do so we can keep it moving.
And they're building those stadiums off the backs of poor people in these communities with tax money, sin tax money quite often, as we do here in Cleveland. And you're right. And because of all those things, I don't think the league will appeal. I don't think they should appeal. I know you and Jay, after the show, though, G, were talking about maybe there's kind of a middle ground where maybe the NFL does ask for a fine in addition, but no additional games. Me
and Jay talked about this, and we were talking after the show, and we were talking about it. And it just popped up that, some people, as you read this discussion and you watch what Sue Robinson did, I think she did an eloquent job of pointing out, yes, Deshaun Watson, she felt did something, but the policy did not give her enough teeth, and they hadn't consistently delivered the consequences of those actions across players and owners and anybody that was under the collective bargaining agreement and the conduct policy. So we thought like she gave that room to say, now there's an opportunity for the NFL to actually go out and say, here, hey, reach out to Deshaun Watson's camp, say, look, hey, the 6 games, we can't do nothing about the 6 games. But what we want to do here, let's see if this works. What if we go back and take a look at a fine? Can we negotiate a fine? Can we negotiate how much, you'll give us in terms of a fine so that the league looks like they got a little bit more from Deshaun Watson, and you still get to play. We look like we came out and we didn't go out like a sheep, and you give us a sacrificial lamb of a couple $1 million, and then we can come out and say we've agreed to this settlement and keep it moving. If that's something that they're thinking about doing and possibly doing, I would look at it if it's Deshaun Watson, because a lot of people are bringing up the fact that every time you talk about him, it's the salary. Oh, they bamboozled the league. They set up this contract where you only lose $1 million or do you only make $1 million? They've been talking about that since Jump Street. So the NFL, if that's going to give them some more public PR, which Sue Robinson already told them, hey, please stop doing that. You shouldn't negotiate in public. But if they want a little more of that, Deshaun Watson's camp could possibly look at it and say, okay, we'll look at a fine. We're not touching this suspension, though.
Gee, that's what I hear you, what you and Jay are talking about, but I disagree with that, because first of all, that's like, that's like negotiating with the criminal, right? The criminal committed a crime. So now you're gonna say, okay, to make everybody feel better, we're gonna cut a deal with you. I'm not cutting a deal with you, right? Here's the rules. If you want to change, define your rules in the collective bargaining agreement. Mm-hmm. Say, okay, here are the stipulations for these penalties. Their stuff was so broad that she could only extract a little bit out of it, right? And the problems that the NFL have is because the way they laid it down so broad so that they would have as much jurisdiction as possible, right? I'm not saying that Deshaun Watson is innocent of anything, right? Because if what is being alleged is true, there's a problem. And I take my tempo from the people at the gym, so I go to the gym every night. Women, guys, I get the whole story. But I'll say this. This is consensus in the gym last night. If he got a problem, it's gonna materialize again.
That's true.
It's going to materialize again.
That's true. It's
going to materialize again.
Listen, the Browns
might be delayed, but it's going to materialize again.
That's true. It will. The Browns have to do. It's silly that I have to say this, but the Browns have to do their best to keep him out of those situations. Ultimately,
if you were what Sue Robinson has alleged in her report, right, in her conclusion, right, then he has an issue.
Oh yeah,
he has an issue, and I don't think you can resolve that issue on your own. So you can sit here and say
he needs therapy.
I think
if you sit up here and tell me, Tyvis, that I'm gonna resolve the issue by saying you can't go to masseuse,
right. No, that's
ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous.
But I do believe that this was a young thing, and it comes with maturity. I think like when you're young, rich, and you're that guy, like I think that's. You had a fetish. You did it. You probably did it one time, and it happened, and you just took advantage of that fetish that you had. So I think him losing games, losing some money, having to pay all these settlements. I think that he, in his mind, that should probably.
Yeah, that's your logic. I get it.
Yeah, that's my logic.
It's my logic. I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna give you a quick story here. So when I was overseas, I played with a guy, and Bull, you know who this guy is. One of the best players in NBA history. His name was Michael Ray Richardson. Sugar. That's what they call him. New York Knicks. One of the baddest guards ever played in the NBA. Sugar got put out the NBA because he was a cocaine addict. He smoked it up, right? And so when I played, I idolized this guy, right? They banned him from the NBA. And so when I played with him, he had cleaned himself up. We were living in France, south of France. He was doing well. And so one night we were out there, I'm just having a discussion with him. I asked Sugar, what happened? He said, when I got to New York, I didn't smoke or drink. I said, well, what happened? He said, I went to a party one night in New York, and somebody turned me on to cocaine, and I just tried it. And then from that night, I was done. I couldn't break myself. I couldn't do it. So the point of that is, you would think the deterrent for Sugar would have been like, now I'm getting this check in the NBA here. I got to stardom and freedom.
No.
He couldn't do it.
Not
necessarily,
he could not do it. Because when you get what he did was he said, you know what, I got money, so I can get even better cocaine. Now that's where that.
But if you have what Brad's point is, he had an addiction.
Yeah, an addiction.
Right, and we don't know Deshaun Watson personally.
I don't think it's an addiction.
Hey,
I ain't gonna say it ain't, though.
Guys, we're not. Listen, we're trying to be psychologists.
Right.
From we don't know him personally.
We don't know what's happening.
But it is possible he has a sex addiction. I know people can laugh at that. That's a
real thing.
It is a real thing, and he needs to be in therapy at the very least.
Yes.
That's. I think everybody should be in therapy. I'll admit I'm in therapy. It's very healthy for me. It's very healthy for everybody. Sometimes when you're young and you play in a macho business, there's a stigma to it. I think that's going away. I hope it will continue to go away. I know it's an issue with athletes. I know it's an issue with military people, police and stuff like that. There's something people think down on you if you go for therapy. It's important. He clearly, and I think one other thing, I think Jimmy Haslam saying that Deshaun Watson has shown remorse was really poor. Deshaun Watson has shown no remorse publicly. And I think if the NFL decides not to appeal, I think when Deshaun Watson speaks, he should say, I don't know that he'll say this. I don't think he will. But if I were him, if I were advising him, I would say, Deshaun, it's clear, even if you didn't mean to, you crossed the line. Maybe you didn't mean to.
The problem is this.
Yeah.
He doesn't even see it as a problem. He's been through the whole thing saying that.
That's not publicly.
Publicly, he has said that, right?
Right.
There's an issue there, right? And the other thing I'm gonna tell you this, and I'll go back to my NBA days, right? There were guys I played with that had some drug addiction problems that cleaned themselves up. They had a vice. It was an addiction.
Yeah.
When they cleared themselves of that vice, it became another vice. And one of the vices was smoking cigarettes, and the other vices was sex. That's what the vices were.
That's right.
So they took from one, resolved themselves of one, and then went to, and these are on prominent teams, right? And so I'm saying, to your point, it's not going. There's going to be systematically have to be put in place some things to help him if this is the
100%. He needs help.
Can't be out here like that.
But to Bull's point,
yeah.
What I alluded to yesterday was maybe potentially he did acknowledge privately when he settled, behind closed doors. He probably told him, "Look, I realized that I did do something wrong at that time, and I apologize. But we ain't gonna never talk about it. Here's the money, blah blah blah."
Well, you got the.
If I were him, though,
you got the press conference tomorrow.
Yeah, he settled all the cases but one. If the league can no longer punish him, which after tomorrow they wouldn't be able to punish him any further for this, I would do it. But let's bring Leroy into the mix. Leroy Hoard is with us.
We got to bring in Leroy whenever we bring in a guest on UCSS. We bring him in via the Gridiron Guys hotline. Are you looking for a roofer you can trust? Family owned since 2003. The Gridiron Guys have grown to become Northeast Ohio's top-rated roofers. They exemplify quality work practices and are a valued resource for homeowners and offer 10-year workmanship warranties. Call 330-573-7967 today for a free estimate or roof inspection.
Gridiron Guys. Leroy.
Please don't shake like that again.
Leroy, why you hating? Why you gotta hate on me? Don't hate.
You got things moving around I can't unsee.
You are a hater, Leroy. I bring you in. I'm loving you. I'm nice to you, and you're just hating on me. That's inappropriate.
I'm a lover of certain body parts, just not on dudes.
Well, listen, you got to be secure in your masculinity, not worry about it, man. It's all right. I'm comfortable with my jiggliness. That's fine. You got to deal with it, my friend. Anyway, I was so out of it Monday. Was Leroy on Monday or Tuesday?
He was on Monday.
I don't know if you heard. I'll tell the story really quick. Did you hear why I wasn't here? Well, I was supposed to be on vacation, but I was in the hospital Saturday because I had a kidney stone stuck. Stuck. Have you ever had a kidney stone?
No. No.
Well, you say that as if you're in good shape. That means you can't get a kidney stone. It has nothing to do with how good a shape you're in.
Dude, you got to keep hydrated.
I drink water all the time.
What else do you drink? Sodas?
Nothing. No soda. Never.
Okay.
Except if I'm nauseous, I drink ginger ale. That's it. But otherwise, I don't drink soda at all. No.
Are you a coffee drinker?
I only drink water. Unless I'm nauseous, I drink ginger ale. And once a year or twice a year when I go to a Jewish deli in New York City, I'll have a black cherry soda. If not, I only drink water.
Dr. Brown's.
Dr. Brown's. Damn right. Damn right, Dr. Brown's. Yes. But, okay, so I was like totally out of it because the kidney stone was stuck between my kidney and my bladder. It was the worst pain I've ever had in my life. It was crazy.
Right.
Anyway, I was on Oxy for a couple of days. I was flying high. But but I'm doing bad. But anyway, we obviously today's my first chance to kind of talk about the whole situation. And I think Brad talked about the fact that nobody's happy. I think the Watson supporters arguing he did zero wrong are being silly. Clearly he did something wrong here. That's obvious. Mm-hmm. I think also the people on the other side are going too far because the anti-Watson people equate inappropriate sexual behavior, which I think is what happened here, with rape and beating up women. And I think there are levels to it. I think the suspension's appropriate. I think we all do at this point. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I think it is what it is. Whether you think it's not severe enough or you think it's or whether you think it's too much. You voted for a process. That process took its course, and we are where we are. To sit now, and what I love about people is you blame the parties for the process. And if you have a problem with the process, you need to take care of that before these situations present themselves.
Very fair.
Otherwise, you got to live with the process. We do this with politics all the time. Like, we complain about the decisions that are made, and I'm like, if you have a problem with the decisions these people are making, put somebody else in office.
That's right.
Don't complain after they make these decisions. And so we have the NFLPA and we have the NFL that agreed to a system to go to an arbiter, to go to Sue Robinson to take all of the information and come up with a punishment. The punishment does not have to be fair to either side. It does not have to be just to either side. But what she did was took the information and came up with what she felt the punishment should be. Now, this is the process that both parties agreed on. I still am a little bit nervous that one of the parties can come in and say, we don't like it, and make the punishment what they want.
Right.
That's the part that would bother me. I think that, look, anytime money is involved, and I don't say this, I'm not talking about innocence or guilt, okay? Anytime money is involved, it is the job of the people representing you to get as much money as possible. When you do that, you have to make the story look as bad as possible so that either the other party will settle or that they will lose in civil court. And so what we're getting lost in right now is the fact that these young ladies had a representative that did just that. That he went through all the avenues to make this situation look as bad as possible so he could get the most for his clients. That's why they included the Texans. That's why they went after everybody. Which, if you ever need a representation, you want your lawyer to do the same thing. I don't have a problem with that. But let's not make it sound like we know all the facts. Still, we don't. We don't know what happened. And I would say that if all these cases were legitimate and all these cases had some merit, why, when they presented it to Sue Robinson, they brought 4 people? Because if you want the case to look, as strong as possible, and you got 25 or 26 women, that are claiming there was some things that were done that shouldn't have been done, and all 26 women came, then we're having a whole different conversation, are we not?
Yeah.
But because only not even a quarter of the women came and testified, to me, like, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson didn't do anything. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that the case that we have been talking about for the last year, okay, when it gets to crunch time and all the accusers that you say you have are dwindled down to 4, do you have a different impression of what was actually going on here? Because I think I do. I do, simply because that. Now, again, even if it's 4 women and there was something where Deshaun Watson didn't do what he was supposed to do, that's too many. So don't get me wrong there. But what I'm saying, for the purposes of where we are today with a 6-game suspension, hearing about all these women, and then when it gets to the moment of truth, where you can come in and tell your story, it goes from all these women to 4. You have to take that into account. Because if it were no women, if he had settled with everybody and they chose not to come in and speak to the NFL, would that mean that now he has no suspension? because nobody got access to the women? I don't know. So right now, I'm like this. Let's everybody be done with this and move on. Deshaun Watson needs somebody close to him to have that conversation. We all know what that conversation is. That conversation where you've been doing things a certain way, and you need somebody close to you put you in check to let you know what's been going on with you in your life is not the right way to go about things. However, whoever it comes from, it's got to come from somebody who he trusts. And then we move forward. Because, like, to sit here after the fact, one of the things I hate is we have a legal system in place. We have all these circumstances and situations that are dealt with in a court accordingly. And then after it's all taken care of, everybody sits back and complains about the result. You can't, when it's done, that's not the time to complain about the results. You see what I'm saying? When it's time to complain about the results is before this situation presents itself. Right. You have something in place that that will, satisfy everybody in your world or in your environment or whoever you're trying to satisfy. So you can't look. I don't care who it is. Nobody's gonna look good in this situation. Okay? And so stop trying to come out of this situation looking good. It is a stain. It is unfortunate. We all have to do what we can, including Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland Browns, the NFL. We have to do something to make sure that these things don't happen again. But you can't do it as you go.
Well said, Leroy. Well said.
G?
Well, Leroy, I talk about this a little bit, and I'm going to ask you because you're a former player. Only for me looking on the inside, looking in, I think some people have this thought process that, if it's Deshaun Watson, it's not just Deshaun Watson. That's not an isolated incident, right? There's a lot of different individuals, African Americans, who seem to go through the judicial process or go through a certain process, and the outcomes are never enough. They're never enough. Deshaun Watson got 6 games. People said if you would just maybe if you would just say you did it, or maybe if you pay all the people off, we'll say it's okay. Go to arbitration and say it's okay. As a player, is it pertinent to go talk to young African American men and just be real with them and just say, look, man, in this game, you're not gonna get a fair shake. It ain't happening. If they catch you, they gonna get you.
Gee, Bush, you should know that by now. Look at the world. We are fully aware of that. Like, stop. No, we can't be that naive. Like, what we want the situations to be and what they are, you just have to be aware of it. And I think most people are aware of what the circumstances are for a black man in the United States. I think people are fully aware of that. So the fact that somebody needs to come and talk to you, nobody's been that naive. I'm tell you, I grew up in the Ninth Ward of New Orleans. I left New Orleans knowing what's up. You see what I'm saying? So everybody didn't come from Boca in South Florida. Okay? Some people came from, we see stories all the time where they came from, how they made it through, how they got to college, graduated from college, played the NFL, did something with their life. Everybody's fully aware of the circumstances in which you walk the face of this earth. Now, you can go about it one or two ways. You don't have to be dragged down by it. I was always told, don't let the circumstances in which you came into this world change how you live your life. Okay? But you do have to be aware. Mm-hmm. You do have to be aware of situations that, could lead you down the wrong path or could get you in trouble that you don't need to be in. You get in a confrontation with a cop, what'd they tell you? Just get home. Yep. Just do whatever you can to get out of that situation and get home. We'll deal with it at a later date. Don't try to deal with it there. Because you ain't going to win there. You ain't going to win with a group full of cops in a situation. Deal with it when you get home. Talk about it. Do what you need to do then. But you're safe. Okay? We've all learned that lesson a long time ago. But one of the issues and one of the points that, I was thinking, as you were talking about that is let's think of all the people that got penalized or suspended. Okay? Because I'm thinking when Ben Roethlisberger, got what? We get 4 games? 6 games?
Yeah, it was 6 and then it was appealed down to 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Ain't nobody say that wasn't enough.
I would disagree with that. There were people, that was a while ago. There were people saying that. That was a long time ago.
And look, I do believe this. No matter what the circumstances are of an athlete getting in some trouble, it's never going to be enough.
Yep.
Because
that's
for
true.
some reason, until that person plays football, we are not very forgiving. You see what I mean? So everybody, whether you say they said it about Ben or Deshaun Watson or whatever, you look at some of the situations of people that have gotten in real trouble in the NFL, right? Soon as they had the opportunity to play football again, then everything seemed to die down. And for a society who admits to being some of the most forgiving people in the world,
no,
it's amazing to me that people aren't allowed in certain situations to fix things. My dad used to say, as long as you have a breath, you can fix it.
Hey Leroy, question for you.
Yeah.
Because now we start talking about how it affects your teammates. All right.
Right.
I watched the Browns for the last couple of days do a masterful job. I'm talking to players, dance around it and say, listen, I'm trying to get to football. And then when I take a poll of people, people ready to move on. They're like, you gave us the decision. Let's just get to it and move on.
We all want to move on. We don't want to talk about football.
The people that care about the Browns and just want to see football.
Well, I think
we all want that for our own guys.
I think in the public, and even in the public sphere, Tyvis, people still have no idea what really happened. You can't say definitively what really happened.
No.
Right? So
knows.
people are saying, okay, we went through the process. To Leroy's point, we went through the process. This is the process. Don't be mad at me because these are the rules that we all created and agreed to. This was how we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Now that it's there, all right, let's abide by that and then move forward here.
Well, I think it's going to be a story until tomorrow.
Right. And then if the league does appeal, then it's going to continue again. But if the league does not appeal, there'll still be some people angry, but I think for the most part,
everybody has to move.
Yeah, right.
Bull.
Yeah.
Bull.
Yeah.
Let's be careful. Let's be careful because guess what? If you appeal, then you got to reveal what's in your closet.
Oh, I don't think they will appeal. You're right.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I agree.
Don't get so focused on what you can do to somebody else that you forget what could happen to you.
I agree, Leroy. I think the league would be making a major mistake in appealing because the league's got a ton of dirty laundry, a ton of legitimate things that the players' union can go after them for. for a variety of things, how owners get really I love when they say, well, Stephen Ross, they lost the first round pick. That's somewhat of a penalty, sure. But like part of his penalty is he can't go to the owners' meetings. I mean, give me a break. What does that mean?
Hey, Bull.
Yes.
Hey, Bull. Let me.
Yeah.
To his point, let me paint you a picture.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Let me paint you a picture. Let me get your emails for the last 10 years. Can I get all of the documentation on Colin Kaepernick? And as a matter of fact, what I would like to do in my discovery process, I would like to get Robert Kraft and on camera in a deposition, and I need him to describe what happened in Florida to see if the training wheels were the same, if the investigation was the same.
What about what's going on in Washington?
Can we get him, Daniel Snyder? I need you in front of a person.
Right.
This could be deadly.
Burn it down.
Well, and we didn't even mention Dallas. Earlier you mentioned all the racial angle of the concussion stuff, which to me is a huge deal, which has not been made much of. But that is flat out racism. 100% slam dunk right there.
As I said earlier, the NFL here. Let me be clear. Owners have never been able to get out of their own way sometimes, right? And sometimes you may want to prove a point to your own detriment. The kids have a saying: "You want this smoke?" Because the NFLPA has laid down. We coming with some smoke, right? Because for one time, they have taken a position that. I think they're going to lay it all on the table here. We've been waiting for you for years.
You're right.
Years for you.
Yes.
And so if you're going to come now, we coming. Right?
They're all in on this.
We're all in on this one here.
Hey,
right?
you know what? If you're a boxing fan, there's always that guy that have that wicked overhand right.
Yeah.
And he exposed the uppercut.
Yeah.
So when he come overhand right and that counter punch come underneath and hit him on the chin, and he go night-night, he thought he was going to knock the other dude out.
Yeah.
Right? But you forgot to not let that guy in your kitchen.
That's right.
So
the league should leave well enough alone here.
The league has to be careful.
Right.
Yes, the league should leave well enough alone, guys. I think people look at
They have an escape clause. Because they can say, hey,
she did it.
We have this process.
Yes.
Although we're not happy with the result, we will honor the process in which we have agreed to with the NFLPA, and everybody wash their hands and go.
Yeah, because
nobody's going to blame the NFL.
Yeah, that's right. Leroy, last point, because I do want to hit some camp storylines with you before you go. But the bottom line is you're right. You're all right. Because the downside of the league appealing and the players' union going nuclear on them is much worse for the league than the downside of the people who are angry about this suspension. What are those people going to do? Some people are going to write articles, they're going to complain on Twitter, and 5 people won't go to games. It's a non-factor in reality. And so deal with that for a couple of days, and then as G would say, keep it moving. I think it's that simple.
Leroy, so the problem that some fans are having is how do they go about being a Browns fan while cheering for Deshaun Watson?
Bad guys
they feel uncomfortable.
Let me tell you how.
Tell them how they can do
the same way I did it as a player. You think I got along with all of my teammates? Hell no.
No chance.
Some of them I couldn't stand.
Oh, yeah.
And there were some who didn't like me.
Say it again,
I was
Leroy.
fine with that. But guess what? I learned a valuable lesson in professional sports. Separate the art from the artist.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
That guy that I just got in a fist fight with, if he go get a sack, I'm going to be first one on the field congratulating him. It don't mean I don't want to knock his ass out when we go outside the stadium. We do this all the time. How many times have we tried to cancel people in movies? And then a good movie come out and we go watch it.
Mm-hmm. Will Smith ain't going nowhere.
Right.
He'll be back.
Hey, look, put your big boy pants on, be an adult, and understand this. you not gonna get along with everybody.
No.
You not gonna like everybody. Everybody is not gonna be a pillar of society. It don't mean that you not gonna do business with them. It don't mean you not gonna watch them.
That's true.
Okay? How many people have we said, you know what? How many times have you gone to a restaurant and said, I got terrible service, but the food was good?
So let me.
Are you gonna stop? Are you gonna stop going to the restaurant because the waiter didn't treat you right?
That's right.
So to Leroy and Tyvus, I got a question. You know, sometime in this business, we talk a lot about what we're going to do, right? Do you think the NFLPA is really ready to go to the mat here? Do you think they're ready to go?
I do.
Do you think they?
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you think that the league feels that they're ready to go to? Because you know sometimes they think you're bluffing.
I do.
I
think
tell
that.
you what,
Hey.
we're gonna find out tomorrow around 8:00 if
Yeah.
they feel they bluffing or not.
Brad, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You want to play that game of chicken if you
No.
Robert Kraft?
No reason
You
for the
want to
league
play
to
that
do
game of chicken
Oh,
if
no.
you Roger Goodell?
No, they don't.
Smart money would tell you to no.
Hey,
Leave it
Leroy,
alone.
let me get to. I think this is an important question that fans want your take on.
Sure.
Deshaun Watson's been taking the majority of the snaps in camp so far. Assuming the suspension stays at 6 games, if you were coaching the Browns, how would you split up the reps? Excuse me. Between the quarterbacks. Thank you.
If you would have sneezed on Monday, you would have got that stone right out your system. I'm good. Let me say this.
Yeah.
If I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm getting Deshaun Watson as many reps as possible. You know why? He ain't played football in a year.
That's true.
So, big picture, I think he needs to get as many reps as possible. Okay? All the other quarterbacks are used to playing the role of a backup. They know how to get ready.
Great
Jacoby
point.
Brissett is a big boy. He know what's up.
It's a great point.
He'll be ready. And so, you prepare that way, understanding that you're going to get Jacoby Brissett some reps with the number ones. He's going to play a lot of the game in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get your other quarterbacks work. But Deshaun Watson has to play.
Great
Yo,
point.
man, you know how hard it is to not play for a year and a half? And then think you're going to come back and just be QB1? The hardest job in sports? He got to get some reps. Has to. So, I'm not, the other guys will get an opportunity to play. But we trying to get ready for the season.
Yeah, you're right.
And once the season starts, Deshaun Watson is going to be MIA for 6 weeks.
Yep.
So you ain't going to really have no contact with him. He ain't going to be allowed to be in the meetings, to see the corrections, to see all the mistakes that guys are making. So he got to get that in now.
I heard he's going up to Michigan to practice with you Wolverines.
Oh, is he?
No, I'm just joking.
He was like, oh, for real?
They don't want him nowhere near Jim.
Look, I'm gonna tell you this, Leroy, because, and I want people to focus on it. I think the first home game is next Friday. No, the first preseason game is next Friday.
Yeah.
Then the following week is the first home game, right? So he has 3 preseason games to get this work in. So he's gonna get a variety. He should be getting the brunt of the work.
Right. He gonna get probably, I would say, 20 to 25 plays each game. Maybe 2 or 3 series. And because guess what? Here's the other thing he has to do. He got to be able to get the call in the headphones.
Right.
He got to be able to make the call in the huddle. He got to be able to see a game plan and see the adjustments on the sideline. He got to be able to hear and work with the coaches that he's going to be going through this with. He got to be able to work with the players on the field when they make adjustments. All these things, when he gets back in 6 weeks, have to be worked on before he gets there. Because look, we all think we know what the record should be after 6 weeks, but we don't know. And when Deshaun Watson gets back, it might be, yo, it's time to go. We ain't got time to be warming up. So he needs to get some work. He needs to get just a feel for the tempo of the game, just the tempo of plays and play calls and adjustments and checks and stuff like that. Now, the thing that's going to hinder him, it's not playing that's going to hinder him. What's going to hinder him is that you don't show all your stuff in the preseason. So the offense that he's going to be running is going to be relatively vanilla. You see what I mean? It's not game planning for anything. It's not anything like that. So what I would like to see is that third preseason game, him playing the whole first half, making adjustments, coming out for a series in the second half. Right. Because that's also something that you're going to have to work on during the course of the season that he's not going to get an opportunity to work on.
So, Leroy, you do know that in the third game, the third preseason game, which is the final one, a lot of the starters don't even play. So you willing to put him out there with the backup, with the two line?
Put him out. Dude, I played 5 preseason games, and the last game was considered the dress rehearsal. Why all of a sudden it changed? Ain't no more people getting hurt than ever. It's like pitching in baseball. Back in the day, them guys used to throw 130 pitches an inning, and they were great. Now all of a sudden, the guy throw 80 pitches. Everybody on the bench start panicking. Oh my goodness, he reaching his number. They're making 10 times the amount of money and throwing half the pitches. No. Let's go.
That's old school right there. Tell them, Leroy, that's old school right there.
What you mean? Like it's football.
What you mean you hurt today? You hurt.
I got to ask you this question.
I guess
about
Leroy doesn't believe in maintenance days in the NBA. Sorry, G.
No maintenance days. No, I want to ask you a question about these. There's 4 or 5 receivers hurt, right? And they're not going to be getting the reps. When I was sitting there, I've been on the page on the forefront of telling them they need to go get another receiver. But I'm gonna actually kind of rechange just a little bit. My thought process was this: I'm actually happy. Not happy that anybody is injured. I'm happy for one thing. I don't believe the organization, I don't believe the coach, and I don't believe the fans understand just how dynamic Kareem Hunt is. I wish all of them receivers don't get no touches just so we could get to the point where Kareem Hunt is going to be a focal point of the offense. He's going to have to come up with something creative for him. And this is my thing. If you need to be able to adapt to what you got best. And the thing that works best that I look at is you got all running backs that can run the ball, all running backs that can catch the football. Now this is going to say, Kevin Stefanski, you got a stud on the bench and you using him like a platoon guy. He ain't that's a bona fide starter over there, and you ain't getting him involved. I'm actually happy. I think they need to find out and figure out what Kareem Hunt is really about.
Here's what you need to do though. One of the reasons why you got to be careful with that is every time you go on the field as an offense, you need to put pressure on each level of the defense. Okay? And if you do that, it allows guys like Kareem Hunt to do his thing underneath. It allows guys like Nick Chubb to do his thing underneath and isolate those linebackers. It allows a guy like David Njoku to be one-on-one with somebody who he's more physically dominant than. And so from that standpoint, you're always going to need somebody outside to stretch the field. Now, if you can do that and you can find ways to put pressure on every level of a defense, okay, then you'll be fine. But in the end, you're going to need those wideouts to make plays down the field to give the threat that we can go down the field. If they're not scared of who you got going down the field, you watch how close they get to the line of scrimmage. They start creeping down. Mm-hmm. I played with this. It start creeping down. I tell you what, when I was in Minnesota and I played with Randy Moss, Jake Reed, and Chris Carter, man, it felt naked in the box. It was naked.
Is there a breeze in here? Is there a breeze?
Yeah. I'm like, it's 3rd and 1, And I could count the amount of people in the box on one hand because they was terrified of what could happen to them down the field. So you got to give the appearance that you're going to put pressure on every level of the field so that those individuals who are dominant, those individuals who can make plays, have the ability to do so. But that's all you want to do. You want to isolate guys. You want to isolate players, or either running backs to get isolated on linebackers, tight ends to get isolated on linebackers. You got, come on. Look, I don't want to talk bad about that school down south.
Whoa.
But every now and then a wideout come across Eli Apple.
Man, listen. Hey, no.
Hold on. Back up,
I'm
son.
not going for
Back
it.
up, son.
There will be no Ohio State slander on this
Back
show.
up, son.
Ever.
Hey.
Stop it. Don't do that. Do not do that.
Hey.
Stop.
By the way,
Hey,
for the record,
no, I don't
Eli
wanna
Apple
hear it.
played pretty well overall.
Thank you. Leave
he
it at that.
actually
I don't need no
improved
buts.
last year.
I don't need no buts. He played well overall. Stop it right there.
He had a decent
Move
season.
on.
We
Mikey McNuggets,
hold on.
ask your question,
We can
please.
go pound for pound,
Yeah,
stripe
yeah.
for stripe,
Don't
man.
do that.
Let's start. Where do you want us to
The
begin?
disrespect. Oh, my
Hey,
goodness.
Leroy.
How many
Hey,
teams has he
Leroy.
played for?
What they got to do with
Hey,
it?
the
He
Bengals
just
brought him
picked
back
up-
again.
Is he actively employed? That's the question.
Hey.
No. I'm not.
That's all that
Look,
matters.
if you in the NFL, you amongst the elite.
Thank you.
He started for a team that went to the Super Bowl.
He's
so
still starting there. So, Mikey, what you got?
I wish he wasn't, but
Look at his face.
That was hey, listen, that was
ain't going
that was
there.
cold. That was cold though, man. See, Tyvis, you gotta have him come up with some names, bro. He name dropped your boy. He
I
got
ain't
him
going for it.
out the books. You gotta come with a roster full of
G,
Michigan guys.
we've
You
been
gotta
just
come
holding.
back.
I'm more classy than that.
We've been holding. No, G, we've
I'm more
been holding our
Let me
powder
tell you
over
the
here.
backstory. Let me tell you the backstory on Eli Apple.
I ain't
Here's
gotta
the
stoop
deal.
that low.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you the story as to why I said Eli Apple. Because he played in New Orleans. And he was talking about New Orleans all bad, right? He said something. He sent a tweet out. He's all like, the food ain't that good. The city ain't that good or whatever. And he
guys
said the
shouldn't
fans
do that.
didn't like me. And
Yeah.
so I replied. I never replied. And I replied. I said, perhaps you would have enjoyed the food better if you had played better. Right? Because, look, he's had his problems. He had his issues in the secondary.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
He has.
So that's how it started. So that's why I just threw a little Eli Apple out.
You just,
All right.
you just
Mikey,
You know, Leroy,
he threw a little Ohio State
he
song
gonna
on the
watch
show.
this, Leroy. After he make a
Yeah.
play, he gonna tweet you.
Mikey's got the last
okay.
question, then we'll wrap up with Leroy. Go ahead, Mike.
Leroy, when do you start to get worried about all these preseason injuries, especially in camp and the non-contact ones? 'Cause it seems like the Browns are getting hit hard early by the injury bug.
Like the 4 box.
And like,
Dropping
you know how many
like flies.
times I say, "Oh, Bill, Miami, I got to miss 2 days." Oh, Miami, come on, it's camp. It's camp. When guys start getting that feeling when it start getting close to September, or when you get to put that uniform on, when you get to put that uniform on with your name in the back and you get to go into the stadium, watch how healthy guys get. It's something about game day, right? It's something about game time. That's in any sport. Practice sucked. I ain't gonna lie. I hated practice. But guess what? If it meant I had to put in a couple of days to get to Sunday, you got my attention. So as soon as they start playing them games, soon as they start competing, don't worry, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. You know what they probably say here? Let me tell you how many times. G. Bush, if you go out there and you start asking them questions, he said, well, this is what they're going to say. If the game was on Sunday, I'd probably be able to play.
If it was Sunday, I'll be ready to go.
That's a good one. That's exactly what we gonna say.
You know you gonna hear it. You gonna hear it. You gonna hear
We
it.
playing the game. I
true.
play today. Yeah.
That's true.
Man, I'm telling you what. Look, check this out. We played and you know, you always fly to the game the day before the game, right? For some reason, we played Indianapolis on a Thursday or Friday, and Bill said, it's camp. We just gonna fly out there the morning of the game. So we flew out the morning of the game, right? Went to the hotel and took a nap, and then went play the damn football game, right?
That's
Now, what? My big ass was playing gunner, right? I played gunner.
Really?
Yeah.
You got
That's
down the
terrible.
field like that?
Yes, sir.
You could beat the
Man,
Vikings.
look. Listen, I remember one time Bill
I gotta
came
pull
to me.
some
He said,
film up.
I wasn't really playing at the time, and Bill came to me and said, "Hey, you think you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "You don't even know what I say," but I said, "But I need to get on the field. We'll figure it out when I get out there."
I need to see. You got
I
some
didn't know
tape.
it was Gunner,
I need to see
so I
this.
ended up playing Gunner. I'm running down. Woo! I'm running down. I'm
Yeah.
double the twins. I say, "Woo!" I said, "Woo!" My hand, because I ain't used to run. I ain't used to run it all out. Right? I get to the sideline. I use that line. I say, "Bill, if it was game day, I could probably finish the game. But, hey, we got to be careful with this one." When sat on the sideline. Hey, man, you do what you got to do.
Did you make the tackle? That's what did you force him to the sideline or make the tackle?
So look, one preseason, we were playing Atlanta. And, they put the two little guys out there. I got these big-ass shoulder pads. I'm trying to shake them with the shoulder pads. I'm running down the field, and I'm getting free, right? So the play over, the guy fair catch, boom, boom, boom. Little guys keep hitting me. Boom, boom, boom. They kept hitting me. I said, "Hey, man, y'all got one more time for that, and then it's going to be problems." Punt again. Boom, boom, boom. They hit me again. So the third time I was playing Gunner, I got in the three-point stands like old school. Right? And they say, "Oh, big fella mad." I say, "I don't know which one of y'all I'm going to get. But one of y'all about to get got." Right? And I went after the one guy, and we had a melee on the field. And Bill said, "We don't need this. You need to do your job and contain." I say, "Well, guess what? I use my line again.
Yeah.
If it was game day, I would have took care of my business. But it's preseason. I got to make my point."
Leroy, great stories as always. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week, all right?
All right,
buddy.
man.
All right, Leroy. My boy.
Great to chat with Leroy as always. He's always got good stories.
Michigan man.
He's got funny stuff.
Hey, he be bringing that fire, bro.
Always.
He be bringing the fire, bro.
All right, let me bring you some fire here on the Cleveland Guardians, because I am seriously disappointed by the fact that they did nothing. It was a very active last 24 hours of the trade deadline. The Yankees got better. The Astros got better. The first-place Minnesota Twins got better. But the Guardians, who were just a game out before yesterday, did nothing, guys. Made one minor league trade, made no additions. We can't even call this. I mean, this is a nothing trade. It's it's two random minor leaguers who will be cut in another week. The Guardians sat on their hands, guys. I could rant about this forever, but anybody have any initial thoughts on this before I go off?
Well, before you go off,
I
think we have a take.
Well, I alluded to it yesterday. So if you look around MLB this season, who you say is the heavy favorite to win it all? Who would you say? Yankees.
I don't think there's one heavy favorite. I'd say it's the Yankees, the Astros, and the Dodgers, and now the Padres.
Okay, boom.
Are the heavy favorites.
So you named four.
Yeah.
Guardians really don't have a chance this year anyway.
I don't agree with that.
Make the playoffs, that's great, but winning it all, not likely. You can say that.
Well, not likely. Yeah, okay, but nobody is likely. This is not. See, in basketball, you have to have certain caliber of players to win. When the basketball playoffs start, guys, at most there's like 6 teams that can win a title most year, and that's a lot some years. We knew when the playoffs started last year that the Cavs had no chance of winning a championship, right? There was no way they were going to win a title as the 8th seed or whatever the hell they were. 0. In the NFL, most teams that make the playoffs can win a Super Bowl, unless you're those random teams that make it with a schlubby quarterback, like you had Tyrod Taylor one year, you had Tim Tebow, those teams are not winning. In baseball, anybody can win. The Guardians, Indians at the time, went to the 2016 World Series. And everybody likes to romanticize that team as if it was some great team. They weren't. They were great for a lot of the season, and they were great the next year. But down the stretch of that season and into the playoffs, they weren't a great team because they had a million injuries. They had a great relief pitcher in Andrew Miller, one great starter in Corey Kluber, a good closer in Cody Allen, and a decent lineup.
Sound like what they got now.
Exactly.
So
nobody's pitching as well. Nobody's pitching as well as Kluber pitched.
Nobody's pitching like Kluber.
Yeah, no, okay,
but Clase is pitching not quite as good as Andrew Miller.
Miller when he was
So
on
what I'm
his
saying
stuff.
is they beat some better teams along the way. And even though they lost to the Cubs were a much better team. The Cubs were the best team in baseball. They were completely healthy, and the Guardians just ran out of gas in that.
So with that being said,
yes,
if they've done it before, why don't you trust it this time?
Because the team is not good enough, and it needs if they ultimately make it, I'll give them a chance, right? Because if you make it, you get. But I don't think they're good enough to make it with the holes that they have. And they needed to fill those holes, guys. This idea, some fans have been conditioned to believe, well, we got to wait till next year. Let's not spend any money. We don't want to trade any of our prospects. They have 1 million prospects. I'm not saying trade all of them, but you could have traded some of them to fill some obvious holes.
Well, this is where I take on this. So you've got these. Cleveland's a middle market team. That's what it is. And it is built through stages and steps. I agree with Ty that I don't think they were anywhere close to being a championship caliber team. Could they have made a run a little bit to the playoffs? The division they're in is a weak division. It's a weak division. So I'm taking that into account. But I will say this: I think how Cleveland has success is to get the star players that were floating out here. You'd have to mortgage the future for these people.
See, I don't agree with that.
And I wasn't. When they were talking about Soto, I wouldn't give up nothing for Soto. I would have given up all I had for Soto.
But they weren't going to trade for Soto. No, but I'm not talking about trading for Soto.
Here, we're building is a process.
Right.
So if I'm running the team and I don't think that this year is the year, right, I do very little. If I think this thing is set up to come in the following year or the following 2 years.
But you never know, Brad, when it's going to be the year. And in baseball, guys, there's just so many young players you can have. All right? The Guardians' 40-man roster is filled with a good young talent. Okay? At the end of this year, there are going to be – so when you get drafted in baseball, you don't go onto a 40-man roster. There's used to be like 150 minor league players in each franchise. Now it's like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, it used to be like 250. Now it's like 140, 150 because they cut out some of the minor league teams. When you're first drafted, no matter how good you are, you're not on the 40. You're in lower minors. Right. You're not on the 40-man roster. Okay. But after a certain amount of years in the minor leagues, you have to be placed on the 40-man roster, or else another team can take you in what's called the Rule 5 draft that they have every year. Okay. So the Guardians' 40-man roster is loaded. They have all these good young players. Some teams, like really bad teams, have their 40-man roster filled, but they got 6 or 7 guys who are you can easily get rid of. You don't worry about it. The Guardians don't really have anybody like that. And now they're going to have a bunch of other young players that they're going to have to add to the 40-man roster this offseason. So they're going to risk losing some of these guys for nothing.
So why can't I take these players after the season and package them for something else? Why can't I develop them from now to the end of the season and try to improve their market value and then try to package them for something better?
You could have traded, like, this idea that we're blowing up the whole system if we make a trade. If the Guardians probably have 15 really good prospects and probably 6 or 7 that are like seem like they can't miss. First of all, they're going to miss. Guys miss all the time. But you don't have to trade all 15 guys. You don't have to trade all 7 elite prospects. But can you trade one of the 7 elite prospects and then 2 or 3 of the next group? Why not?
Are you going to win with your trade?
They could. You got it. Are we playing to win, G, or not? Do we want to try to win? Let's go.
Let's get. You know how I do. Let's get down to it. You talking about, and I get the linear building. You want to build it, and you want to go in steps. See,
absolutely.
The thing about baseball is it's not an exact science, and it's not a linear progress. The Guardians are within one game. That means you're in contention today, right? You can't say next year, everybody's going to play a bump above, and then we're going to be in that place where we can make a move and do. No. See, baseball, you could be terrible next year. And you could have prospects you thought was good that you can't get a penny for because they're what? Prospects. At the end of the day, this thing boils down to this, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you are, and I always go back to the level of attendance. Even when the Guardians get good and have some sort of level of being some sort of level of contender, you are asking fans to be congratulatory about your thriftiness. No one says, hey, I like that outfit. And you say, hey, you like it much better that I got it for 50 cents at the thrift store? No, they just like the outfit.
Great
Stop
point.
trying to sell us. Don't sell us how thrifty and great you are getting bottom of the barrel prices and getting good players to turn them into something. The bottom line is the fans don't respect that. Your attendance shows that. So even if you do have a great team, you know what you consistently tell your fans? We not really going all out. We ain't even really trying to win, because if we was really trying to win, you take the team you got with the young players you got, gets rid of some of the other guys that ain't going to be about nothing probably in 2-3 years, and go for it now. At the end of the day, if you get in a baseball tournament, you can win it. Bull can give you the list of teams that teams ain't been no good. You be like, wow, they won a World Series? Heck yeah, they won, because you got in the tournament and you got hot at the right time.
To your point, the Nationals and Braves, both in the last few years, have won a World Series in seasons where they were under 500 in July. I mean, so and so you can win it. And the thing is, to me, in a baseball, as you said, is a great point. It's the most unpredictable sport, right? When you're good in the NBA, when you're a good player in the NFL, unless you're injured, you rarely have huge swings in your performance, right? Mm-hmm. Tom Brady's always great. The great quarterbacks are always great. There's exceptions, but generally, LeBron never has a bad season.
Correct.
Cody Bellinger won Rookie of the Year in the National League. Then he won the MVP. Now he sucks for the last 2 years. He's not even average. He's below average. The guy was the Rookie of the Year and then the MVP in the National League. We thought he was going to be a 40-40 guy. He stinks. He stinks now. That doesn't happen in the league, and it's not because of injury.
So the thing is, because I'm on the fence, you know. I'm on the fence.
Yeah.
I see it working both ways, because I'm one of them ones. If you got an opportunity, you only guaranteed this opportunity one time, so you go all out for it. I'm that type of person. But if they only a game out after not making anything with this roster lineup that they've had, they can definitely still get in.
The Yankees, they could, but the Yankees were whatever games they're up in first place. Did they stand pat? The Astros stand pat. Those teams are winning their divisions. They know it, and they didn't stand pat.
The Yankees are not going to stand pat because they have a chance to win it all. So they would, by definition.
But you can never guarantee.
But you can try to better your odds.
But the Padres, and remember, San Diego's not L.A., New York, Boston. It's not a big market.
I saw San Diego here. They're okay. I mean, they pick up Soto.
They went all in.
But they pay the price for Soto.
They ain't got no pitching, though.
Prospects are cool. Parades are cooler.
That's true.
Your fans will respect you for it. Jay just did a final take a couple of days ago, and he said, "Guys, come on, support the team. Get on out there. They are games from first place. I know people that are upset that they changed their names from Indians to Guardians, and I don't think it got nothing to do with that. See, this has been baked in for years and years.
Yeah.
And so my thought process is, if you're doing this every single year, you have to not only build a roster, but sometimes in sports you have to build a fan base. And the Guardians have not done enough to build a fan base where their fan base trusts them. That's the reality of it.
Well,
you're right.
It's trust. They don't trust it. They don't trust
to your
them.
point, you go back and check the history of attendance with this ball club. The only time they really had a good run was that run in the night when they were selling the place out.
Right.
Their attendance is right in line where it has been for lifetime here.
But the difference is, before those 90s teams, the franchise was garbage forever.
You don't have to tell.
They're actually good.
Whereas they've been a very good franchise since the 90s.
Good.
Yeah. Right, they've been competitive for most of the last 30 years.
The problem is the market that we are in. This is not New York. This is not Houston.
Agreed.
Not L.A., right? This is not, right?
But, Brad, don't you think if they had a consistently higher payroll, not Yankees level?
Yeah, well, I always believe,
think the attendance would be
spend
better.
a little bit more money.
You're right. They wouldn't be sold out all the time, but they would have better attendance. If fans didn't think they were always going to lose their stars, attendance would be better.
Yeah,
I think that is.
I don't disagree with that.
That is the problem.
That's a big part of it.
Don't disagree.
Mikey McNuggets, what is the internet saying, please, about the Cleveland Guardians and
Let me tell you
the
real
lack
quick,
of action on the trade deadline?
Internet was asked this question: do you like the Guardians standing pat, or do you wish they were more aggressive? So let's, before we read the answers, tell you who sponsors this segment.
Please.
And it is our favorites at PCC Air Force. Let's see if I could read and change at once. Looking for Oh, I had it. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus get full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers.
There it is.
More.
Everybody's going surfing PCC. Surfing PCC.
I like
All
that.
right.
He gave me a second standards too. I like
you go.
that.
I like it. All right, so let's take the first tag board here. It's just simply our question we asked the internet. The Guardians did not make any major moves. What are your thoughts on that strategy? And we got 4 answers. We got some varied answers, too. So let's punch to the first one, Anthony. Let's take it live here. Don't like it, but this team keeps proving me wrong, so screw it. Let's see what magic we can make in the second.
Yes, I mean, as a
That's
fan,
where everybody-
fans should not stop rooting for the team, but I think that's a good attitude
Well,
to
that's
have.
been the motto for the past.
Listen, they got a great front office and a great manager. I wish the owner would give them more tools.
I respect that take. I agree.
Agreed.
This is the second one. I'm not mad. This was a tank year anyway. They want to assess the roster and probably get more pieces these next few years.
See, that guy has a loser mentality, and that's unfortunate. We can't have a loser mentality. This was not a tank year. You should never have a tank year. That's bad organization. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Especially in
No.
baseball. Especially in baseball.
What are you tanking
Well, the
for?
one thing I do, to take you, the one thing I do agree with is this.
Strike
You
three.
have these pieces. You assemble these pieces.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with them? How do you parlay that into bigger things, right? I'm packaging things after the season.
Yeah, sure.
Depending on how I'm packaging some things. I'm
No
going to
doubt.
shake some things around and see if I can get some players here to make a run. Because at some point, I've got to take advantage of all these prospects, the management style.
Right.
Because I don't know if you're getting any more money here,
Yeah.
right? So you got to go out and parlay it.
That's right. They need to do that. They need a couple impact bats.
Boy, you
Yeah.
gotta understand that in the city of Cleveland, we haven't really won a lot. So therefore,
Listen,
it's
Tyler,
easy
I
to
get
have-
it.
it's
I
easy.
get it. But look who I grew up rooting for, too. It's not like I grew up rooting for winners.
The sky
I'm a
is
Cubs
falling.
and Bengals fan. Until 2016, my teams had never won a championship. So I know what it's like to be rooting for losers. I get it.
That's why when you say they need to make change, like people
Yeah.
ain't used to that.
But the Cubs fans come down every day.
They do.
They
listen,
do.
That's
That's
why
'cause
it's
of
so
the stadium.
crazy. It's so crazy we got rid of Baker Mayfield because it's like he actually won.
Exactly.
for us.
That's
like,
why-
I want to get
man,
rid of
get over
that.
that.
Like it's
Nah.
the mentality. We got to change the Cleveland
no.
mentality.
I disagree.
No, I need to go to. I went to. You know what? I went to the dark side. I was a Jedi, and I sat on these councils and talked about what good things we can do and progress and pieces and all this great stuff and citizenships awards. And then I went over and was looking at the Sith. I saw the Ravens come in here in black uniforms, destroy us. I seen the LA Dodgers come here by the whole world. I just seen the Pittsburgh Steelers do it the terrible way. And I say, you know what? I'm Anakin Skywalker. I'm going to go over here and talk to Palpatine. And I say, you know what? I'm with this whole Sith thing. Y'all seem to be kicking ass and taking names. I want to get on that trade. The only difference between me and Anakin, I'm not about to get my legs cut off and burned alive. I'm going to do a little more sneakier.
Well, he
You
didn't do
shoulda
that
did
on purpose.
Hey, he
Obi-Wan
got
did
greedy.
it.
He got greedy.
He got greedy. He did get greedy. You're
He
right.
got greedy.
That's fair.
What
Don't mess
else?
with Obi-Wan.
What else?
Mikey, what do you got?
We got 2 more responses. Steve, let's take tag board. This is on the evaluation of it. This year was about evaluation, even though anything can happen once in the playoffs. I'm glad they're sticking to the plan. We can make moves in the offseason.
Yeah, why try to win as much as you can now? I mean,
That's Brad's point right there.
We're playing the long game here. What is
How many
wrong
years
with
are we
playing
gonna play the long game?
It's a good point. In baseball,
I've
with
been
these
here. I've been
prospects, you
on
never
this.
know.
I've been on this earth 59 years.
This
We've
is
played a
not
long
right
game.
here.
Hey,
This is my point right here.
Hey, nah, we got to go back to the other one.
No.
Could you explain to just think if you were in the room with your wife and you tell her it's 12 o'clock, you like, this is all about, evaluation, babe. We're not going to do no action. This is evaluation period right now.
Yeah.
I don't care about no evaluations.
Exactly, ridiculous.
12
I guess
o'clock at night.
Wait a minute.
the
you
Guardians,
gotta have it.
the Guardians shouldn't do it. Then the Guardians shouldn't do anything this offseason because they're not going to be as good as
But
the
G,
Yankees.
you can't.
Why bother?
Y'all can't
Why
just
bother?
talk. Can't get to know
No,
each
we ain't
other.
talking. No. I know exactly who you are.
Little cuddle
You're a good
session.
person.
That's the
Yeah,
Canton-
exactly.
That's the Canton way. I got it.
All right, Mikey, let's do a little good bet, bad bet, and then get some other camp storylines,
Got to get
right?
it now.
Yeah,
I got
we'll
you,
do
baby.
good bet, bad bet real quick.
Yeah.
Aditi, unfortunately, is unable to
Yeah,
connect.
no Aditi
She's
today.
having some connectivity issues, so
Wait
she's
a
gonna try
minute.
coming on.
Wait. Before we go, I want to see that last tweet because I need to
Oh,
make
yeah.
that point to
Go
Bull.
ahead. Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly
can
my
punch it.
point right
Yeah,
there.
I know. But here's the thing. Like, yes, you can't. You're not going to make the team as good as those teams.
So what's the
But
point?
my point, because the better team in baseball doesn't always win more than any other sport.
So you doing it for probability chances that
You
they
playing
can
odds?
potentially.
You playing odds?
I'm saying that I want to make, and the Guardians can trade for guys who are not going to be free agents at the end of the year that could still help them beyond this year. All these prospects that everybody's obsessed with, again, you're lucky if half of them pan out.
Okay.
The only trade that you really wanted was Contreras.
Contreras. Yes. And I think they should have traded for him because they could have gotten him with giving up one good prospect, which was fine. And he is a rental. However, they didn't have to go down that road. Zach Meisel reported they were talking to the A's about Tom Murphy, their catcher, who's got a few more years under his belt. They could have tried to trade for Ian Happ for the Cubs, who's got this year and next year left. There were other options. Yes, Contreras. He wasn't the only guy I was talking about. He was one.
Well, you've got here. You just saw a number.
Believe in Austin Hedges.
A number of tweets there. The fan base is exerting no pressure on the organization.
Some do. We didn't get any of those.
But I mean, you just got a sampling here. I mean,
the fans, Guardians fans have been conditioned to accept the sometimes mediocrity or the lack of spending because they overachieve often as a team with an excellent front office and manager.
Austin Hedges
I think what Bull is saying is there's everybody that does this long contrived speech about what they would do if they win the lottery, but never play the lottery. What are we talking? Why would you talk about it then? You can't if you don't play the lottery, you can't get the benefit of winning a lot of money. So pay the lottery, get $1 or so, and
that's
people
what the Browns
will come out
did.
and play.
That's what the Browns did.
I like G. He a Mega Million player.
Yes, especially when you go over a certain amount, I'm automatically playing.
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
All right, let's get the good bet, bad bet, Mikey.
Bull, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yep.
A tough day for the panel yesterday. G. Bush, you went 0-3. Everyone else went 1-2 on the panel. So
I technically went 2-1.
No, we're gonna clear this up. The
I
minor league trade did not count as a win. The Guardians did not make any trades that really.
No.
How does that?
I'm sorry, I missed the result there. What was that?
G went 0-3. Everyone else went 1-2.
I'm kind of with Tyvus on that.
Like
that's a trade is a trade.
Yes.
A trade is a trade.
I cannot believe this.
Guys, here's the thing. I picked a trade also, and I'm saying it's not. It's a minor league trade. The Major League Ross team did not make a trade.
When you go on MLB.com and you look up the Guardians
there you go,
transactions,
what does it say? MLB.com
we have made an executive decision.
That's a trade.
It was my choice.
Yes.
The ruler.
He's the ruler.
That's terrible, man.
We should have clarified Major League Trade. When
I had Mike Paul.
I did not imagine in a million years the only trade we'd be talking about was a minor league trade.
Can you put up the standings again?
Yeah, give us 1 second.
I'm about to become the first 100-game winner.
Tyvis, can we appeal this to Roger Goodell?
We definitely go into it. I really do.
Within a week or two, I will pass Tyvis and Mike on percentage-wise.
Gee,
I wonder, can we get Sue Robinson to be the arbitrator?
Gee, we got to come up with a nuke if they appeal.
If you lose by 1 game, but I would have won 2, so it doesn't matter.
Mike Polk, it was his only.
It only benefited Mike. It only benefited Mike. All right, guys.
We'll keep it there.
I want to talk some training camp here. Okay. I know you guys have been a little worried.
You want to go through the bets real quick, Bo, before we do training camp?
I'm sorry.
Yes, we'll do some training camp storylines.
Yeah.
We'll do Tyvus' top 5, and then we'll do some final takes. We'll be out of here at 1 o'clock. First bet, Guardians getting a 1.5 tonight against the Diamondbacks.
I can't believe
2-2 split.
Ain't Bieber on the mound?
Yeah, I don't like the way Bieber's pitching right now. I am concerned a little bit about him down the stretch.
Last 3 good outings.
Dang, G, you too? Never thought I'd see this.
I'll tell you what, if I'm the Guardians, I hope the Bieber pitches as well as possible down the stretch, and then I guarantee you they will trade him this offseason. Because I'm a little worried he's a year or so away from going off an early cliff.
He got that Cliff Lee, Corey Kluber thing going on right now?
I'm worried about it. I don't like where his velocity's at. I don't like what you look at some of the advanced statistics, all those nerdy stats on him, they're not good.
When your velocity drops that young, it's not a
He has not recovered totally from that injury he had a few years ago. It's concerning.
All right, second bet, under 8.5 runs in tonight's game.
Really?
Boy, you're on the wrong side of this.
I think Arizona's a team playing loose and free. They got nothing to play for. I think I bet you some of the players in the Guardians are ticked that the team didn't do anything, and that takes a couple of days to get over. The players really respond to that. The players, you talk to any major league player, If they're in contention, they're paying attention to the trade front. Those Padres players, you don't think they got a boost trading for Juan Soto, trading for Josh Hader? My God, their team went all in. The Yankees. Meanwhile, the Guardians players are like, "What are we doing?" If I'm a veteran on the Guardians, I'm bummed.
You don't think that they a close group and they didn't want to see none of their people go?
I'm sure that yes, but a lot of the guys the Padres traded away, except for Eric Hosmer, were all young players who had either not been in the majors or were only in the majors briefly. They did trade Hosmer because they had to get rid of his money, but the rest of that, they want to win, man. Don't you want to win?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they got the best hitter and the best closer.
But at the same time, I do want to win with my guy.
Absolutely. I'm sure there is some of that, but the players are pumped.
Well,
There's no doubt.
San Diego has to make a move because in California you got the Dodgers.
Yeah.
You got the
Giants.
Right?
We're having a down year.
So San Diego, the team in San Diego.
We're competing with the Reds.
Well, the Reds.
The team in San Diego is basically third fiddle. So they have to do something.
Yeah.
They're the only game in
They're
town
really
out
good.
there.
It's going to be fascinating to see that race down the stretch.
They lost every other franchise they ever had.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
All right, Mikey. Last one.
Last one, the Shane Bieber pitch over. It's the next one, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
But the Shane Bieber pitch over 6 innings tonight.
I can't believe y'all said yes.
Yeah, that was a weird question. What happened? Is this it?
Did Anthony send two of the same graphic?
I think.
Tisk, Anthony. It was over under 6 innings pitch for Shane Bieber tonight. It was virtually even odds.
Yeah.
He ain't pitching over 6. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I can tell you guys, G and Brad both said good. Bull and Tyva said bad.
That means he has to start the 7th inning.
Start the 7th inning.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, see, okay, no, see, dang it, you and use baseball stats. You gonna hit me with he has to start and face 2 batters in the 7th inning.
No, he only has to
and
face
give up
one.
no hits.
He only has to throw one pitch technically to win the bet.
Throw one pitch in the 7th.
Yes.
And you
He's
win.
not doing that. He's not doing it. Pitchers don't even go past 5 innings no more. It's done.
Yeah.
Well, G, you said good.
Yeah, you're going to lose that one then.
Yeah.
Too much coffee. Too much cake. Too much cake. Gee, I'm with you on this thing. I got him going to the 7, baby.
Let's do it.
Let's do some training camp
Crazy.
storylines real quick before we get to
But I'm
top
playing
5.
long odds.
He didn't win against us.
All right.
Too much K-cup
All
coffee.
right, guys. Can we bring back the you guys posted this very early in the show.
Stefanski's
Yes.
shot. Yeah, Steve, let's pull up.
Let's bring that back up.
Let's roll 13. This was on splitting rests between Brissett and Deshaun Watson. Tim Couch talked about it. Leroy's talked about it.
Yeah.
Brissett talked about it. We'll get you guys that quote. But this is the quote from Kevin Stefanski. Quote, I think we will see. We have a plan certainly for practice. As we get closer to the preseason games, we will make some decisions as it relates to that. My understanding is that he can play in preseason games. So in classic Stefanski fashion,
he says
he
nothing.
said absolutely nothing.
But I love how he says, my understanding is that, like he doesn't know for sure.
The senator of Berea. The senator of Berea.
He talks like an old school politician. Not like the lunatics today.
My
but
understanding.
he talks like an old school
understand
politician.
what's going on. I didn't see the press conference. I don't know what happened. That's
Right. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Guys, I mean, it's huge that he can be in training camp in the preseason, don't you think?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
For a guy that hasn't played in almost 2 seasons, absolutely. You need to get those reps. You need to get acclimated. You need to get back to what it feels like on game day. Get back out there and get in the huddle with the fans.
Next Friday, he's going to be under center.
And it's going to be
yes, he is.
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you this. This is the angle people are not talking about. The Cleveland Browns, if they want to go ahead and protect their investment, see, there's wolves out there jumping all on the pile, right? They're doing a lot of stuff, a lot of tough talking, more games, all that stuff. You got to give Deshaun Watson a bone here. You got to give him some stuff to make him feel good. Get him out there. Let's get him on that field. Show just how much of an upgrade this dude is. Make people remember, hey, they haven't saw him in a year. All they know of him is people think he's some random predator running around here, checking under people's skirts and doing God knows what. Get him on the football field and do exactly what he's doing, what he's good at, and so fans can get an opportunity to see him and doing his thing. And you know what they'll say? Hey, that guy's kind of good. Just like Leroy said, when them games start playing, all of a sudden people get amnesia.
Yeah, guys, I think Leroy made some really good points. I mean, he blew it on making fun of my jiggling, but everything else. But I thought was a great point about Jacoby Brissett is used to being a backup. He's been a backup basically his whole career. He knows how to not get a ton of reps and still be ready to play. I understand at some point you got to give him some more leading up to the first game. But Watson needs to work right now more than Brissett does, don't you think?
Watson is the key to the car here. He's the future of the organization. They put their money they put their money where they think it needs to be at. So Watson, they have to groom him to be ready to go.
Yeah.
Next Friday in this first preseason game, he's going to be under center. He will be under center and should be under center for the start the thing, so people can get an idea to what G is just talking about. Show me why.
Yes.
Because the only thing we've talked about over the last year has really been what's going down in Houston and the cases you've been here in Cleveland and the money. So let's get back to some football here to figure out if you're worth the investment.
Mikey, hold on one second. Mikey has
Brissett spoke to the media yesterday, and I want to pull up one quote, but before I read it, I just want to say, he is the perfect backup quarterback. He says all the right things. He says nothing he's not supposed to. This was when he was asked about just having a backup mentality. He said, quote, "It's been my situation throughout my career, nothing that I'm unfamiliar with, always be ready to go whenever my number's called." And that's the case in point. Now, it's unbelievable, a guy who has the mindset just to accept that role.
Mikey, you know where he started his career at, so he was they trained him
That's
to speak for interviews like that. The Patriots definitely gonna make sure you speak correctly. And when getting back to the Deshaun Watson thing, yes, Jacoby Brissett's gonna come in. I don't think they're gonna really give him a lot that he can't handle. Like I say, it's going to be a heavy dose of Kareem and Nick Chubb. And these throws that you're going to be making is out of play action. If those two running backs are eating, that linebacker core is going to step up every time. And boom, we hitting you with an over route right behind you. It should be a very easy throw to make. Like I say, Stefanski did it all last season, calling a great, some games. He called a great game plan with an injured quarterback. You could do it with a healthy one that can make the throws. You shall succeed. Going back to Deshaun Watson, I think going into that first game, I think Stefanski should open it up a little bit. He should open that playbook just a tad bit, just to get people, just to let Deshaun Watson truly go out there and shine for a couple of series, just to get this city excited, so they can try to forget about what just happened with this decision and all that stuff. Get this fan base excited, so when he comes back, everybody's all aboard and ready to go.
Guys, we have a football game. Gee, there's a football game tomorrow.
I can't wait for good
games tomorrow.
We have some football bets tomorrow.
Man, OG, you know what he did right there?
What did he do?
He said in the word drumline, he told Jacoby Brissett, one band, one sound. He told him one band, one sound. He got him together, and that is the reason why there was no Case Keenum on this team. They brought in a whole new group of cats. It's like, listen, this is how we gonna move with this. This is the itinerary, and this is how you toe the line. You ready to go? Break. And now you see what it was.
Gee, I heard the press conference. They tried to hit Jacoby Brissett with every question they could get him with on every different angle, and he sliced it out like a slick politician. Like, I have the answer. I know what's going on. You're not going to trick me into saying something stupid. I am the guy.
That's right.
And they said, why do you act like that? He said, because I have confidence in myself. That's why I can believe in that. Right? And it was everything that you needed to do to settle the ship. And he said, I'm not here to comment on Deshaun Watson's case. That's for Deshaun. No, I'm not on that. I'm on something else here. We're selling the ship here. The ship is leaving the board here in a week. And that's what we're about to do. And I'm going to be at the helm. So I want you to know this. I'm going to be at the helm of this.
And it's huge. Real quick before we get to top five here, Mikey, I know you guys have probably talked about this the last couple of days, but the fact that Deshaun Watson will come back for games 7 and 8, Baltimore and Cincinnati, that's
Halloween is going to be scary.
Chilling.
Let me tell you something. Do you think it's by happenstance that the NFL put a schedule out like that?
Yeah, it's interesting. But they didn't want 6 games, but
that's what they say.
Maybe they thought it might be. Yeah,
they say that publicly.
Till they get the numbers and the ratings.
I look at the other, and they say, if it goes this way, set these games like this.
That Monday night at Halloween in Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincinnati. Even though neither one's a huge market nationally, but that game will have. Think about the eyeballs. Forget just in Ohio, which will be absurd, but across the country, because both teams are very hot right now in the public eye.
And Mikey, don't let them be 4-2 or something crazy.
Yeah. Mikey McNuggets.
We got to do top 5, and today's top 5 is a doozy. I'll tell you what it is after I tell you who brings it to us. But you guys already know. It's Roundstone. It's always Roundstone. Are you looking for affordable quality healthcare? Then Roundstone is your answer. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money, an average of 20%. That's not a mistake. 20%.
It's not.
Contact us to learn how you can get great healthcare benefits that your employees will love and save money too.
Round and around, 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 Roundstone. Round and around, around, Roundstone.
I like that. I actually like that. If you could get that flow down and that pattern in the second round, think you'd be good.
Thank you. All right. I'll work on
it. Were you down with PCC? What do you think of Jay's down with PCC jingle?
Jay's?
Yeah, you down with
We got a
PCC?
Jay took over.
Wow.
He came off the fly.
How did I not know about this already?
Bull was
Travis,
like,
you want to
what?
give him a little sample?
You down with PCC? Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
He said that some guy in the comments was like,
That's good.
Suggested it, and he's like, he used it, and it was
Well
good.
done. I appreciate
Polk
it.
is not a fan.
Polk didn't like it?
Not at all.
I kind of like it.
All right, so today's top 5
Yeah.
comes after a discussion we've had the last week, really.
Yeah.
Tyvis thinks he could have gone pro in Major League Baseball. He went pro in the NFL. Tyvis is convinced he could have played in the NBA if he put his efforts
Oh,
in
my gosh.
basketball. So
I
today's
love his
list-
confidence. I do
Easily.
love his confidence.
It's not a joke, easily.
No, Tyvis is very. I saw it firsthand at the softball
Thank
game.
you.
But today's list are the 5 sports I know for a fact Tyvis would be terrible at.
The list better be blank. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'll tell you the list is not blank.
The list
Top
be
5
blank.
sports Tyvis would be terrible at. Okay.
It's flawed.
Okay, here
From
we go.
5 going up, it's flawed.
Also, we had some fun with this yesterday. I hope you guys appreciate Anthony's work on Photoshop. He really worked hard. on
Okay,
it. So,
I like this. Here we go.
Let's go to number 5.
Look at this.
Hockey.
Can you ice skate?
I can skate, but ice skate I've only tried once.
What do you mean you can skate? Like roller skate?
Yeah, I can roller
Yeah.
skate.
Tyvis, what year
Nah.
were you born?
94.
94. So the ice skating rink in Warrensville was closed by that time.
Yeah, but it was at where's the Word Church at now?
It's, yeah.
That was they had that
the
before.
sports
Yeah,
fitness center.
yeah, they
Ty-
had
Ty-
ice skating there, and I did it a
Tyvis,
couple
you-
times.
Tyvis, you be out there in church socks sliding around.
But this the thing. This the thing, G. Hockey, yeah. Would I be good at it? If I could skate, I wouldn't necessarily be a scorer. I would be an enforcer. So technically,
I mean, you're a big guy.
I would be good.
So
Thank you very much.
Here's a story.
So the list is flawed.
Look, here's a story for you. As a kid, I grew up, I went to the Warrensville Library every day buying hockey books. I wanted to be a goalie. I was gonna be like the world's biggest goalie. I wanted to pass and everything.
Hey, Brad, come on now.
Yeah, I know. I had to change my thinking, G.
You low key came up in the civil rights. That was you couldn't even get that off. No, sir. That's
We're
not.
going to keep moving on, and I'll give you a little explanation on why we think. Number 4 here, cross-country skiing.
love the big-
And here's
Look-
why.
look at Tyvis.
Sometimes has to use the bathroom in a 2-hour show.
Oh, yeah.
There's nowhere to use the bathroom on these 8-hour adventures, Tyvis. I think
fair.
you just bow out of a race to use the bathroom.
No,
They can get them
I
depends.
you know what? When it's in the middle of competition, I know he
Them
did.
depends.
When it's
It's
in the
different.
middle of competition, you sometimes you gotta sacrifice. I just let that thing go. Just let it go.
Gee, that was
Tyvis,
good, G.
did you? Everybody got a ritual. Did you have to go to the bathroom during games?
No.
Or you just waited, right? You was good.
Yeah.
Not at halftime.
If you had to go and you're on the
halftime?
sideline, what you do is they get towels and everybody cover you up and you just go right on the sideline.
I've never heard that.
If you ever watch the sideline, you see a group of guys huddled together with towels.
they're peeing.
Somebody's peeing.
Did you ever see any poop on the sideline?
No, I haven't. that you got to go to half.
By the way, I felt like I had to look it up because I was curious after we mentioned Tyvis and hockey. You guys want to guess how many black players there are in the NHL?
5.
Currently?
3.5.
Not enough.
5.
2, 5, G?
3.5.
11.
A lot more than you would have thought. 26.
Is it?
It's a movement. So I could have played.
Maybe
All
you've
right,
been there.
we're going to move on to number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Slap boxing.
Oh, no.
Tyvis,
See, I disagree. I think Tyvis would be good at
There's
that.
no way he's getting slapped
You're
in the face.
crazy.
Oh, no.
No,
I
you blew
slapped
that one.
somebody to
Oh, yeah,
sleep.
yeah.
You blew that
Wow,
one.
they been
You can't be no DB
Nah.
and not ready to slap box somebody.
get
I'm
slapped
sorry.
to sleep.
No.
That's how wide receivers fight. They slap. I mean, he's used to it.
I'm actually a connoisseur of this. I was on this in the beginning of slap boxing leagues when people wasn't getting paid. People get paid now, and I'm letting you know there is some guys out there that will put you to sleep.
Oh my God! Have you seen this?
That's what I just said. You can slap
You got to.
And there's no way, and you go and see Tyvus would have to go in the larger weight classes. So he slap boxing with somebody that's 250 from Eastern European Russian bloc,
No doubt.
formerly known as he looked like he's battling Zangief for something from Street
I'm gonna
Fighter.
let you know something, G. Somebody slapped me too hard. I'm stealing on them.
Have you guys seen slap? Have you seen this?
Yeah.
That is crazy. These guys.
it's
I would never do it,
devastating.
but I actually think Tyvus would be good at it. I think you're bad.
These guys are too big. Tyvus is a big guy. He's not nearly as big as
Yeah,
some
but
other
it would be
guys.
weight class though.
But I think
I've
he-
seen some of those guys. They're
think
not
he
all
reaches
big.
heavyweight.
I think you're
He's-
wrong. I think he
he-
kicked
Tyvus
some
is
of their ass.
heavyweight.
I say we should try
Number
it
two.
off the set and see
Yeah.
what happens.
I'm not
We
doing
know
it.
number 2.
Yeah,
It's golf. We know number 2.
that should have been number 1.
No, you'll see number 1. Number 1 is the best one.
See, and this is the thing
You
about
can't swing
golf.
them sticks.
No, this is the thing because see, and it's misconstrued about this. Big word. Y'all see the video of me throwing the club, and y'all think that was I just threw the club and that was the end of the thing. No, I continued to golf after that. I took like 8 or 9 more swings, and I really got close to getting it on the green my last couple.
The question: can you swing those sticks?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah.
All right. So then you tell them to take you off that list then.
I don't know what's wrong with
right.
him.
Yeah, I don't know.
He is so everybody in the world is so gone off the one video. They don't even know the whole story.
I haven't known a football player that couldn't drive that ball right off
Yeah.
the tee, right after they got the swing of it together, right. So he should be able to do that.
All
right.
I'm gonna contact the caddy and she'll tell you.
All right, number 1.
Before we take number 1, does anyone have a guess? Anyone have a guess?
Gymnastics.
No.
It better not be baseball. I tell you
Curling.
that.
We talked about curling. We only went with one ice skating sport. Let's take it here.
Yeah, something that's
Tyvus cannot be a jockey.
That's true.
He's
Yeah.
way too big.
You're too big for that.
Way too
You're
big.
right.
Tyvus would
That's-
never win the
that's
Kentucky
fair.
Derby. And Tyvus, if you
Yeah.
want to defend yourself on why you think you could ride
Too big.
Seabiscuit,
Even that one,
This is the thing.
even that one, which is so obvious because he's too big, he was annoyed by it.
That's the thing. No, because it's not 100% true.
You got to be tiny to be a
I
jockey.
would lose weight.
You got to be like 100 pounds.
That's fine.
You have to be like
you gotta,
5'6".
You got to do what you got to do. If this is what's putting food on the table, I'm losing 100
You
pounds.
too big, bro.
No, no.
you're
me
too
and
tall.
That, me and that horse, we
Even-
gone. We
Even
gone.
the horse.
You know
Even
what?
the horse
And
was
then-
what
and then,
profile.
you know what I'm gonna do, G?
All
If
right,
it
guys.
get down to it, I'm gonna stick myself out
Guys,
in front of the horse to
I'm
get the
cutting you
the
off
win.
because we're getting out of here on time today.
But before we
yeah.
leave, what was that? Pull up all 5 again.
Yeah.
Let's just give Anthony a shout out. These are some
Great
of his best
job by
Photoshop works.
Anthony.
Yeah,
And he messed
that
up
was
the good bad graphics. But
Yeah.
he hit a home run with
That's
this.
almost as good as when they do Kenny and Charles on the
Yeah, that's really
Right,
well done.
right.
Anthony.
Yeah, that's pretty well
I
done.
like
Shout out to
the
Anthony.
hockey and the
Shout out to
The
Anthony.
number 3 what cracks me up the most.
I'd say 4 of the 5 are excellent. 2 is so-so. The other 4 are excellent.
No,
Shout out to
two is great because it got Tyvus looking like he's so smug. He like, I could do that too.
The number 2
all
looks
of
like
that.
somebody cut off Tyvus's head and is wearing it as a helmet.
Steve,
or
when you
something.
come to me
But
on number
anyway,
camera
we
two.
don't want that to happen. Let's get the final takes, guys. Tyvus, or should we start with G?
Let's start with G, then we'll go Tyvus, Brad,
Okay,
you.
G, you're up, buddy.
Well, listen, man. I'm gonna keep it to football, man. We talking about Thursday is coming up. We got a situation where the Hall of Fame is coming up in an induction of Pro Football Hall of Fame, and it's in my stomping grounds of Canton, Ohio. Be at Tom Benson Memorial Hall of Fame, a place that I had the opportunity to play and play my high school football back in the day at Foster Stadium. And I really would like to see the league do something and make a decision either way on Deshaun Watson, because if you ask a lot of these people and veterans, that's a celebration of the people that really did something for the sport of football, the people that should be celebrated. And my cringe-worthy note is, and if you're in the media, do your job and don't ask nothing stupid that weekend. Sometimes you guys, I don't know if you vet people or whatever you do, please don't bring up Deshaun Watson. Please don't bring up no scandals and none of that to these people that have laid their life on the line, that played and added to what we get a chance to talk about. We are members on the outside. We are not the story. So please don't disrespect nobody's weekend, they moment in time. It's some people that could be getting inducted and their family, they're not even here today. So here's the situation. Let's go ahead, celebrate these guys at the Hall of Fame. Let's have another great weekend in Canton, Ohio. And media, do something, have some decency and some respect, and keep it to what these people have delivered to on the field.
Tyvis.
I like that, actually. That was good, G. My final take today is I've been getting a lot of opportunities, I should say, going from other outlets in the world. And the thing that I thought about as I was driving up here today is just how thankful I am. Thankful for everybody here at Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. The things that y'all have done to help me be prepared for this. Like y'all look out for me. Y'all give me tidbits. We can talk. G. Bush even reached out to me and helped me get on his thing so I can speak out more and just be more fluent and talk about different topics. I want to also thank my podcast partner, Holly Wetzel. Just the way she comes in with information about the Browns, and we can sit there and we talk, and how she challenges me to be a better person. And everybody that's down at 97.1 The Fan, man, y'all have made radio so fun for me, and I go in that door with a smile on my face, and I'm just so happy to be there. And that's not just them, that's everybody that I'm encountered with in this media world. And I just want to say thank y'all from the bottom of my heart, everybody that's involved. Steve, thank you for even giving me this opportunity just to go out there and be ready for anything that comes my way. You know, I truly feel that I am capable to perform and do well at any media outlet, Big Ten, Fox, ESPN, whatever that may be, that whatever's in my future. I will never forget y'all, and from the bottom of my heart, I thank y'all so much.
Well done, young fella.
Well said.
Well done. I told you. Told you.
Well done. You're on your way here.
Thanks.
Steve, come to me on camera too. I'm tired of turning my head sideways, right? And like, oh, there we go. The camera 2 is in front of me, Steve. I'm like, I want to look forward.
We're trying. Give us a second.
So
Get my camera together. There we go.
There we go. You know, I'm a TV guy, right? So let's talk this thing through. So I want to talk about some things that we've talked about this week. We talked about the system working in the NFL. The system is set up between the NFLPA and the NFL, a collective bargaining system that results in a result that it should be respected on both sides. What I want to do today is give a shout out to the state of Kansas, because yesterday the system actually worked. The system worked. You know, instead of things being left to random politicians being put in office to make some decisions, right? The state of Kansas put on their electoral ballot yesterday a vote that would have an effect about whether you wanted to change the state constitution into abortion, whether you wanted to see it or not, right? And no matter what side of the aisle you're on and what side of the question you're on, whether you liked it or you didn't like it, you were for abortion or against abortion, it was left to the people of Kansas to cast the vote, whether they wanted to see it or not changed in the Constitution. Whether you were for abortion being in Kansas or whether you're against abortion being in Kansas. And it was left to the people. It wasn't left to a random set of judges, a random set of politicians, a random set of people who won some elections by 3% because there were only a minuscule number of people coming to vote. To vote to put them in office. It was left up to the people of Kansas, and the people of Kansas spoke loud and hard yesterday that they were in favor of leaving abortion available in the state of Kansas. So whether you agree with having backing abortion or not backing abortion, what I'm saluting is the fact that there is a process in place. And with that process, you rely on people to make the decision. And when that decision is made, you have no choice but to respect the system for working. And that's what the NFL is at today with the NFLPA. And I'm hopeful that they're going to allow the system to play itself out after 9 o'clock tomorrow on Thursday.
Brad, great stuff. Let me wrap it up with this, guys. You know, I spent 20 years working in radio. My first full-time job in radio was in Utica, New York in 2001. It was right after 9/11 that I moved to Utica, New York, and took a job as a news reporter, believe it or not. I didn't want to be a news reporter, but I wanted to get my foot in the door with a full-time job, and I took it. 6 months later, I became a sports talk show host, and I did that for 20 years until I left the Fan on April 1st of this year. So over 20 years in the business. In 20 years in the radio business, and I was thinking about this today, so I'll admit it's possible maybe I've forgotten about one or two. But in 20 years of doing radio between Utica, New York City, and Cleveland, I worked with one full-time black employee in 20 years, at least on the air. Somebody who was on the air. One. That's it. There were people who worked part-time. And I thought about this in recent years, and I sent out a large Twitter post, I think it was a year ago, and I talked about the fact that, this is a problem in our industry, and something needs to be done about it. Now, I don't know if it's changing radio at all. I was thinking about it today as we have Brad here, we have Tyvis here, we have Garrett here, and I think it's awesome that we are diverse on this show, that we are not afraid to talk about things. So many people are scared to have a conversation about race. And I know there's a lot of white people that are scared to have a conversation about race. G and I talk about these things all the time off the air. And we talk about the fact that, if he talks about racial injustice on the air, that some white people just won't hear it because he's black. And so that's why it's important for people like me, who are not black, to talk about these things. And I'm not here to lecture all white people that all white people are bad and all white people are racist. Of course that's not true, right? But it's important to be able to have open and honest conversations about race, not pigeonholing people into certain areas, and give more opportunity. That's the thing. White privilege doesn't mean all white people get an advantage. What white privilege means is that you don't have a disadvantage of being white. In being white. Most people that are hiring, most executives, most high-level CEOs are white people and are men. And so white men have advantages because of that. That doesn't mean if you're a white man who's successful, you didn't work hard or earn your spot. It just means other people have more things to overcome. And we all have to be realistic about that and do what we can in our own way to level the playing field. It's easy to just say, well, what do we need the Rooney Rule for in the NFL? Because it's best man for the job. Yes, in a perfect world, it should always be the best person for the job. That's who should get it. But when 31, I believe, of the 32 owners are white in the NFL, and I'm not saying all 31 are racist. I'm sure there's plenty of them that are not. But if you're around white people, if you're a 80-year-old white guy and you've spent most of your life around white people, even subconsciously, you're going to lean towards hiring somebody that looks more like you. So if we have these conversations and we're honest about these things, that's how you defeat this. And we need everybody talking about it. And guys like me can't be scared to have these real conversations. And that's it for today's edition of the
Bravo for you,
Ultimate
my
Cleveland
friend.
Push.
Bravo for you.
Like that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for
Yes.
that.
Perfect, boy.
Thank you. I'm happy to be feeling better. I'll be back on tomorrow. Do we know yet who's on the team tomorrow? It's been
We have guest-wise Mary Kay.
Yeah.
Robert Smith's supposed to come in studio.
Yeah.
We're gonna see how that is. Jason's back.
yes.
Mike Polk should be around, and we're gonna listen. We got musical chairs the next couple of days,
Yeah.
so bear with us. But we got an amazing guest list coming up, and we're not stopping. It
And
may
G
not
will
look
be coming
exactly
from
the
home
same.
again tomorrow.
Most likely, G. Most
All right.
likely.
Brad Tyvis, I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Because I am going to be on tomorrow, and then I'm going on my vacation Friday till the following Friday. We'll see you all tomorrow on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
G for the penthouse.
Yes, sir.
There go my man Tyvis. Slap box.
Steve says he produced it. Did you see that?